Please welcome Shiva Ahmadi.
Okay, thank you so much for the introduction and also for inviting me to come here and speak to you about my work. Before I show you the images of my work, I would like to talk to you a bit about my background. Oh, actually, there's a while with my performance where how let's just assume this. Sorry about that. Okay, so before I show you the images, I would like to talk to you a little bit about my background and the way that I grew up, because it does have a huge, you will see a huge influence in my work, and it makes you understand my work much better later. So I'm an Iranian, and when I was 4 years old, the Islamic Revolution happened. And 2 years later, the war between Iran and Iraq started. And it took 8 years to finish. It was an afternoon in September when the Iraqis attacked Iranian air bases at Tehran's major airport. And after that, war started. Basically, the dominant memory of my childhood is daily city bombing, sobbing and screaming of families who have lost their loved ones, handicapped children, older people, and a big black fabric that was all over the big cities, which was basically a sign of national mourning. And all of this brought a lot of instability and uncertainty into my work and into my life. You could see fear and anxiety in everybody's face. My personal life was also not any better. My mother is a physician, and her skills were very much needed during the war. And so she had to go to different hospitals and work, and sometimes she didn't have babysitter to take care of me, so she would take me with her and just leave me in the nursing station and just like, do not ever leave this room, okay, under any circumstances, and I am going to be back soon. And I would say absolutely. And of course, like 5 minutes after she left, I would leave too. And I would just go around the hospital, see things that maybe I shouldn't really witness. Which was a lot of blood, injured people, screaming, sobbing, and so many things that they very much traumatized me and left me with memories and nightmares that sometimes we still have. Anyway, after 8 years, war finished. Iran accepted UN resolution, and yeah, just the war finished, and everybody tried to forget about the horror of war and went to their construction and they went to their own construction and tried dealt with Islam and feminism. And I was just going through all these new, all these figures from the classes, these new models, and I was just thought, I love this. Maybe then happy self-esteem in Iran, so I really just want to explore, all these stuff. And I was like, basically, practicing and exploring new techniques, material, as well as the culture and things that were very new to me. My paintings were basically full of news figures, party, and so, and I don't know, I really like to just, I was kind of very much into all these feminism stuff and everything else. But then something happened. In 2003, I went to the Islamic residency, and I actually encouraged all the students to try the art residency for the very least, because it's going to help you a lot to go up and to find new perspective. So it was 2003, and it was the invasion of Iraq by US. And for some reason, I became extremely emotional. Like, I was just like a roller coaster of emotions, and I was following the news of war religiously. I just want to know what's going on in the world, and just the war itself, or the concept of war, that was very, very disturbing to me. And I think it was because of the fact that I experienced it when I was a kid. And so I think at that time I also started getting a little bit homesick. Finally, after 5 years, I got homesick, basically. I remember that when I got here, my mom used to call every week or so and ask me, honey, are you homesick? Is everything okay? And I was like, yeah, of course everything's okay. I'm traveling, I am drinking, I party, I draw new figures, I have the time of my life. I'm homesick. And so after the war, after the start of the war, the invasion of Iraq, I called my mom and I said, Mom, I think I'm homesick. And she said, like, now you're homesick after 5 years? And, but also this feeling and all this stuff kind of lead me toward my own culture. And for that, I started looking into Persian and Indian miniature painting, mostly Persian miniature painting. And I think the reason was that this was very soothing for me. When I was growing up, we had miniature painting all over the place in our house. And I hated it with passion. And still, if you go to any Iranian person's house, you will see miniature painting all over the place. But the thing is that when I was an art student in Iran, we never cared about Persian miniature painting in the form of traditional Iranian art. All we cared about was Jackson Pollock, Mark Rothko, and some sort of abstract art. And so for the first time, I started kind of getting into this beautiful form of art, getting to know this beautiful form of art, and it kind of changed my life. It influenced me a lot, and you will see that it will be later in your painting. Before I start showing you the images of my work, I want to talk to you about presidential painting and show you covering images, because I think it will help you and see what my work over there. So Persian miniature was originally used to illustrate classic texts, folk tales, and epic poems. Then it evolved into a unique art form in itself with its own masters and different stylistic schools. These paintings are very, very small, like 10 by 5 or 10 by 12, really, really small. And they are flat. Miniature painting doesn't make the story that, about the poetry that the artist illustrated. And nothing in these paintings are there just because they're beautiful. Everything has a meaning. Everything is intentional. It's following something. And for example, the artist in this case is trying to show, like, it's a, you know, it shows in this very, very small format. You see a little bit of the interior, a little bit of the outside, a little bit of the, you know, what's going on inside the room, and all this happens, and as I said, in a very, very small format. So, and many of these paintings are also based on the religious studies. And with that in mind, I started my own work, which was also very small, but very much influenced by Persian major painting. I kept the structure and the architecture. I just filled up the painting with oil barrels and oil videos because I've always been very interested in the oil politics and what an important role it plays in today's oil politics and conflicts. But as you see, the paintings are kind of very straightforward. All the images are kind of, you know, they're not poetic or anything, and as you can see, they are. I have a very graphical approach to all the paintings and all the images, and kind of, you know, yeah, like expanding my own images or bringing my own images into the work. Everything is very symbolic. Like in this painting, I have the throne, which is a sign of the power, Persian carpet, culture, and I have the bullets that basically looks like the lipstick, and then I have the army boots and oil barrels. Or in this painting, I have a Persian garden that is fenced by basically, you know, the bullets that looks like lipstick, and I think it comes from my feminism kind of studies background. And the door toward the inside is open, and outside we have the army boots, which refer to the conflicts and the war. Now, little by little, I started to kind of separate myself from the painting, and I started to kind of go out the sizes, and the paintings got a little bit bigger, and in a way more abstract, or more gestural, not abstract, more gestural and expressive. These paintings are now 20 by 30, which was big for me at that time, and all of them are watercolor. All the paintings are watercolor paintings. But as you see, the images have started to become more narrative and in a way more personal. Also, at this time, animals started coming into my work. And to this day, I use animal forms to say a story or to convey a message. These paintings now are a lot bigger, still the same medium, same material, but they're a lot bigger. And 60 by 40, and if you work with watercolor, you know that this is actually a very big size for watercolor. Also, I really like to, something that I have always been very interested to kind of combine the descriptive images and suggestive images together. I always like to create a painting that is an art form, that is very beautiful from outside, very colorful, and kind of bring the attention or get the attention of the people. And then once once they get closer, they see more abstract or more suggestive forms, which are not as beautiful because of the concept that I'm working with. Clashing with the animals, gold and a lot of really obvious things that you don't want to see right away. Now the way that I work is that I always do a lot of study. I do a lot of research, I read, and I just travel, I see things, and I get inspired. Then I get into the production mode, and I start creating. And I get into the studio, and I create artwork for like 2-3 months until I am absolutely exhausted. Then I get bored, and I feel like, now I want to do something new, something that is not two-dimensional and still, but it is still thinking. So around this time in my work, I started working on oil drums. I got these oil barrels, and I started painting on them. And the thing is that sometimes I hear, reading about my work, and they always say, Shiva Ahmadi new sculpture, and I look like I'm all like, this is not a sculpture, this is just a painting on a three-dimensional board. And I didn't make the barrel, these are really, they're just, it was a painting on this board. And as I told you, I really love this, politics, and I've been always very interested in the crude oil politics. And to me, oil is something that is supposed to be a source of prosperity and wealth in many countries, but unfortunately, it is actually a source of many conflicts and war around the region. But the thing about the oil barrels is that no matter what you do with them, if you touch the barrel, you make money. That's my experience. So I made a series of 20 of these oil barrels, and I sold them in 2 minutes. And I still have many big waiting lists that people want more, and I'm like, no, I'm done. It was just a series, the phase that I went through, and I started making more. But anyway, after these barrels, I came back to the painting again. And this time I started working on aqua board. Aqua board is a rigid panel that is a new material. It's very good for watercolor, and it gives you a lot of options to manipulate the medium and to explore the medium and do anything that you like. I still love paper very much, but I think for what I do, aqua boards at the time was right now still like one of the it's something that I use a lot. But the thing about aqua boards is that also they keep the intensity of the color very much. If you see them in my laptop, you will see how intense they are, but again, they have it on and the characters particularly are really not that intense. Also, the imagery are getting a lot more narrative. I started using, as I said, a lot of different animals and a lot of the stories. To me, storytelling is an effective tool that is used to convey the message, the concept. And storytelling is very important because I think stories are central to our mental process and to our mental process for understanding, for memorizing, and for remembering, and also communicating. Stories are make things easier to learn. You probably have experience with that, and it's also very entertaining. So that's why my painting at this point, and again, these are maybe 40 or 60, and it is big considering that the material is watercolor and ink. And the paintings are really more narrative. I also love religious stuff, religious stories very much in different culture, especially the concept of hell and heaven. So, for example, in this painting that is called Focus Focus, I remember that it kind of reminded me of that when I was a kid in Iran, I had this young male teacher, and this guy was teaching us, religious studies, and we were kids, like 10, 12 years old, and he was talking about hell and heaven so vividly that you would literally think that he died and he went to the other part and the other world and experienced both lives, and now he's back here telling you about his experiences. But the thing is, it was really kind of stimulating our imagination. So you would say that if you're a bad girl, if you don't pray or cover your hair or all these things that Islam asks you to do, then when you die, you're gonna go to hell, and there will be fire, vicious animals, and they're gonna eat you alive or whatever, and it's going to be a very, very torturous, long, torturous process. But if you're a good girl, you're going to go to heaven, and there it's going to be good food, good fruits, great, fresh air, and beautiful women. And I used to think to myself that, what the hell do I need beautiful women for? I was 10 years old. And, but just I want to read the detail of the story that is talking about and all those stuff. Now, this painting is called Al-Khair. Al-Khair, and it was actually acquired by District Institute of Art in Michigan. And Al-Khair is in Islamic teaching, is the teacher of all the prophets. He's a very wise and knowledgeable guy. And now he is kind of isolated in the lower left corner in the cave, and he's kind of bleeding. And the ruler, or the corrupt ruler, is sitting on a golden throne, and he's kind of running the whole show. And the thing is that although my painting at the beginning started with the idea of war, but it never stayed. I always think of my own work in a way that the paintings are kind of responding to the current events that is going on in our world. And this painting is actually 80 by 60 and two kind of painting. This one is 120 by 40, and it was acquired by the museum in Safar. And it's a painting that I have two books in this one. And the first one, and both of them are controlled by evils and bad characters. In the first one, I have a ruler that is sitting in the center, and all these monkeys are offering him explosives and bombs and things like that. In the next one, I have the monkey in charge of the nuclear centrifuge, and controlling the whole thing. And I think, again, kind of referring to the fact that not only in my country, but in many parts of the world, weapons and explosive or nuclear weapons are in the hand of really people who are really not trustworthy. This painting is called Safe Haven, and it is the largest one that I made to this day, and it's 120 by 60. And it was acquired by the Museum of Contemporary Art in Los Angeles. And And there are a lot of little stories going on, which makes you stand in front of the painting and kind of discover them and start to find out what they're going on. And I kind of find this way very, this strategy very crucial in my work because I want to engage with the in front of the painting for a longer time. And I also want to talk to you a little bit about the process of making the painting and the alcohols or the technical matter. So I use a background that is very chaotic and is full of texture. And for this matter, that's why paper can't really help, but alcohols can help a lot. The way I work is that I first put down a layer of, and this is a detail of that painting. I put down the first brush on the board, and then I sprinkle a little bit of rice grain and brush hair. And what happened is that rice and brush absorb the water and push the pigment outward. And then when it's dry, it gives you a very chaotic. It gives you a beautiful pattern that is also very chaotic and helps with with the painting. But as you see in many of my artwork, in all of my artwork, I don't really have a traditional background and foreground. Everything is kind of floating on here, and it's intentional. I want to talk about the uncertainty and instability that I work. This painting is called Pipe and was acquired by the Metropolitan Museum of Art and last year. And it's long the same, the ruler and the followers and the pipes and things like that, 40 or 60 paintings. Now, last year I had a show at Lake Gallery in New York, and I had to curate my own show. And as you see, my paintings are extremely narrative, and there are so many things going on. And I was thinking that if I put all these images next to each other, then what will happen is that people are going to go crazy as soon as they get into the gallery, because every painting has a lot of stories, and it's just not going to work. So I also created a couple of abstract art, which kind of, for me, I took like one of the circles of one of the images that is just repeated in all my paintings and kind of made a circle with it. And kind of, to me, both these paintings are resemble the targets, but also because it's very abstract, it kind of creates a moment of silence when you get into the show. And it helps you to kind of, it's a minute that kind of calms the whole thing down, and I needed to have a couple of those like that. I also made a painting installation of a smaller work, and I just want to show you a couple of examples of that painting. It's the same concept, but again, different form and shape. This one was acquired by the Museum of Herman Johnson Museum in Cornell University. I also did a lot of drawings. To me, drawing has always been a passion for me. I love drawing more than anything else. And especially when you do the kind of painting that I do, they're really large, they're watercolor, and water runs, and it's out of control. It's a fluid. It just, it takes a lot of control and skill. And it's also chaotic, and so, which actually works for the concepts that I have. That's why I chose the water medium. But so when I'm done with the painting, I'm always so exhausted. I'm so drained, and physically I'm so exhausted. But the drawings are not like that. white and dark, and the light and dark, and it's kind of, as I said, very, very meditating. And actually, right now, at the moment, I'm working, these were very small images, painting, drawings. They are like 10 by 14, but I'm working on a bigger size drawing right now, and it takes a lot of time. This drawing was acquired by British Museum, drawing acquired by British Museum. And these are a little bit bigger, 30 by 20, and it was also aligned with the fine painting was acquired by Metropolitan Museum of Art. The thing about this drawing is that it takes a very, very long time to do that. It's kind of very meditating, it's very calming, I love them, but basically, like for this painting, for this drawing that is not really big, 30 by 20, the amount of time I spend doing them is almost the same amount of time that I spend on the paintings. And yeah, I just love them, the collectors love them. So I am actually right now in the studio in the process of button some 60 or 40 or something like 50 really large, very large paper, very smooth texture drawings that I want to start working with all these images and see how it goes. Now, getting back to the painting for that show that I had last year, this is one of the largest paintings there, and so when I was curating, I knew that I needed a moment of silence. That's why it was, abstract work. And I also was thinking that what if I start moving these forms and these characters and say a story from the beginning to the end. And see, painting is kind of limited. It only captures a moment of the whole work and of the whole concept. But animation or video is kind of helps you to convey the story even better. It helps you to say the story that starts from somewhere and ends somewhere else. So for this one, it was the first animation that I made for that show. It's a 60-second animation, and I would like to show it to you. And then we'll go to the Lotus. I have a very small budget and very, little time for this one. Now, something you need to know is that when I make these paintings, repertoire collection, and which contains 300 objects, and I had to study them and find an object eventually that is most inspiring to me, and then based on that, make an artwork. So right away, after like several weeks going through everything and reading about them, I found these two Buddhas that were inspired. This one is a Buddha Shakyamuni from Pakistan, and it was so gorgeous. I found it extremely beautiful and very, very, how do you say that? It's very formally, but absolutely amazing. All the details and stuff like that. I kind of really like the image. But the description of this Buddha, which is Buddha Shakyamuni from Myanmar, and it's Buddha Shakyamuni with meaning worshipper, the description of this one was something that inspired me, and I believe the Lotus video based on. So in the description, which I'm just giving you a very brief, explanation, it says that this Buddha is in the struggle with Mara, which is the god of death and desire. And throughout the battle, finally Buddha wins the battle with his worshippers, and the Mara or the battle she basically leaves, and Buddha stands and straight as he is. So right away I thought that maybe I can do something with the lotus in here. Here again I have the throne, and the tyrant that is sitting on the throne with the bomb in his hand, and all these followers or the monkeys that are sitting next to him, and the power plants and whatever. And I was thinking that what if I just change the Buddha, the tyrant, into Buddha, and which Buddha to me resembles, or is a symbol of hope and wisdom. So he is sitting on the throne and on a lotus, and at first everything is so graceful and everything is so nice, and all the monkeys are playing with bubbles. Bubbles to me represent happiness, and I don't know, maybe it's something from childhood that I really love to play with all the bubble things. And then throughout the animation,